Welcome back to my channel. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. This is Jazz Live. It's been a year since I posted on this channel. It's been a long year. Lots of things have been happening. Lots of things have been changing. I'm just trying to be a better person. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have binge disorder. I have imposter syndrome.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb.
But I think I have high functioning depression. It's hard to come on here and be vulnerable and transparent. But I think it's therapeutic. I haven't posted anything in a year. I've just been going through the dumps. And so this video is for people who can relate. I'm 25. I'm a nurse. I work on a med-surg unit currently. Initially, when I moved to Tennessee. I started working in a clinic. Prior to that, I did home health. Basically, I've done lots of different types of nursing. In the clinic role, I felt almost like I was not pushing myself to my best ability. I was being complacent, maybe. I wasn't just like being the best version of me that I could be. Working in the clinic, it's Monday to Friday. I think it was from 8 a.m. till 4:30, but sometimes it ran till 5, depending on, how many patients were in that day or how long the sessions were taken. One of my videos, I believe I had said that, the reason why I'm leaving bedside nursing. And while those emotions still stand, being in the clinic, I just felt very bored, to be honest. I mean, the most practical thing that I do was, well, not practical, but the most hands-on thing that I would do was probably like a wound dressing change. And that was very rare. Besides that, it was mostly paperwork, vital signs, sending out notes to the doctors to get prescriptions filled. And the pay wasn't very great either. But when I moved here initially, the first year working as a nurse was just like simply a lot. And I just felt like life doesn't need to be stressful. Like, it really doesn't need to be stressful. So I went into the clinic, but again, I was bored. So I went back into the hospital December of last year. So let's see, from June or July till December, till November, till end of November, I worked in the clinic. And then from December, I took a contract at a local travel contract at a hospital nearby. And I was making $65 an hour. So the pay was great. One of the reasons why I went back was because, like, hey, gotta pay these bills. But also I just felt like I needed to challenge myself, and being a nurse for only 1 year and settling in the clinic. I mean, most of the nurses in the clinic were people that have had their careers and, were closer to retirement, and they were just looking for like a chill job to pass the time and not be so labor intensive. So I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like at 24, I needed to, be pushing myself to the ultimate brim, or whatever it's called. So I went back to the hospital. I worked, I'm currently in that position, working as a float nurse. So for those of you who are not aware or don't know what float nursing is, it's basically you don't have a home unit. Each day, each morning, they tell you where you're supposed to go, and it could be a respiratory unit, it could be gastrointestinal, kidney. I floated to the emergency department. I floated to psych departments. And even though, being in the ED, like that's not my specialty. When I go, I'm just kind of like a help on. And actually in the hospital that I'm at, they've opened a section where it's basically patients who we know they're being admitted and we're waiting for a bed upstairs. So basically it's kind of an inpatient ED portion. And then when I have floated to the psych unit, it's been very different. But then again, when you're a float nurse, they're not really expecting you to do everything by the books, because in a way, you're a guest and like you're here to help as you need. So you just do the best you can. I floated to oncology, bone marrow transplant units. And overall, I'd say, I've been able to see a lot, do a lot. But again, I started to get bored. I felt like being in the float position, I was seeing more and getting confident in my nursing skills, but at the same time, I wasn't really specialized. And each unit that I go to, it feels brand new, and in a way, like you always feel lost all the time. So I decided to apply to the ICU. Damn, we've gone a long way from leaving the bedside and then going back to the bedside and the ICU. And again, it's like being 25, I don't really know what I'm doing. Maybe y'all know what you're doing, but I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to challenge myself every day. I'm trying to not be complacent. I'm trying to be the best version of me that I can be. And so if something doesn't feel right, believe me, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna find a way to improve myself. So the goal of me applying to the ICU was not only to get a position where I felt like I could, really like hone in on my skills and like really connect the textbook version of nursing to the practicum version of nursing, if that makes sense. Because floating around, having 6 patient assignments, you really don't get time to read the chart, research patients' conditions, especially like it's day shift, so you can imagine like it's always so busy. So applying to the ICU, it was mostly because I felt like, I wasn't connecting the textbook version of nursing to the practicum version, and having like 6 patient assignments and being day shifts where family is coming, respiratory runs at night too, but PT, OT, like the day was just like very interrupted, and there's not time to really look through the chart and like connect. Also, I feel like if I want to take nursing to the next level, maybe be a nurse practitioner, or go to CRNA school, or even do something that is like the educational aspect of nursing. I feel like being in the ICU will really help me be more confident and like develop myself more, so to speak. But at the same time, does it cause me anxiety? Yes. I mean, like I literally like quit my first nursing job because I was like having anxiety and like nightmares and panic attacks. And so at the same time, like someone could say that, I mean, nursing is not for, I think one of the comments that I had in that video was that basically like, if you are feeling so anxious and blah, 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 like nursing is not for you. And I don't really care what other people want to determine that is for someone or is not for someone. If I can do something, even if I'm going to have like anxiety and I'm going to have depression and I'm going to have to battle through those things, I want to see it as character development. Because if you never did anything that scared you, you would never achieve your highest self, so to speak. You basically stay in your comfort zone and just like ride out slowly till you die. That's kind of grim, but basically, yeah, like on my deathbed, I want to be like, yeah, and I did things I was afraid of, and I pushed myself even though I was scared and anxious. I don't think that if you're afraid of something and that means it's challenging you, that you should run to the opposite direction necessarily. Even though, like, I mean, I still affirm what I said before. It's not do or die, and if it's not working, like, you don't have to do it. There are so many aspects of nursing. You don't really need to limit yourself to anything. But at the same time, I think it's up to each individual to decide what they can and cannot do. So maybe 2 years ago, I could not do it. I could not really fathom myself. And now there's fathom. I could not even fathom, being by the bedside. And now, even though like I'm stressed, even though it's anxiety inducing, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because when I started floating, I don't know, I feel like sometimes like people who have home units, they float sometimes, and like no one likes to float because you're in a new unit, you don't know anyone, you don't even know what the doctors look like, you don't really even know where things are, so no one likes to float. However, me putting myself in that position, I've been able to have like a lot of character development. I'm confident enough to walk into like any unit and say, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do as a nurse, and let's get this work done and let's go home. So I feel like that's the same thing that's going to happen with the ICU. Yeah, there's going to be like a huge learning curve. Yeah, I'm going to feel stupid. I'm going to have imposter syndrome, but I need to just basically keep pushing myself, and like all other things, there'll come a day where maybe I'll be bored, but I'd be confident, so to speak. On the Instagram post, I was saying that certain times, like, you could be in a room with other people that are trying to do the same thing as you. However, it feels like everyone is just like scaling by, and like it's so easy for other people and it's just like extra difficult for you. And that's because sometimes like other people may have support groups or like support systems, I think it said, in place that you do not have. So it may be more difficult for you to do things because like you don't have that support that you need. And in addition, I saw a different video that was saying that, you know, there are people that will think that you're not qualified for a position. There are people that will think that you're stupid. Like in nursing, you come across a lot of those kind of people. But what you have to realize at the end of the day is that you're not doing it for those people, you're doing it for you. So it doesn't matter who believes in you and who doesn't, and it doesn't matter who's there for you and who doesn't. And even if you don't have support systems and that makes it more difficult for you to believe in yourself when you're feeling down, or to be able to basically like have confidence going into a tough situation, like you need to learn how to give that to yourself. And I think that that's a very character building development that each person needs to have. I think that for me, interviewing to get into the ICU, I remember when I started off as a new grad, like I wanted to be in the ICU, but then again, you know, when I was in school, I didn't have a 4.0 GPA, and basically it was only that level of students that they were accepted to get their senior placement in the ICUs. So interviewing as a new grad, I didn't get that job, and now as a nurse that's 2 years experienced, I had an interview where I was basically being told that I'm not ready. I think I was trying to interview for the CVICU, and that's like the top of the ICUs in terms of like drips and like complications and how fragile the patients are. It's like the cardiothoracic and vascular intensive care unit. But basically the manager that I interviewed was saying, you know, I need to work in the cardiac step down first and blah blah blah, and she doesn't think that, you know, it'd be easy for me coming from med surg and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, I mean, she's had new grad nurses come into the position and equally struggle. Like everyone is going to struggle, you know, in the beginning of something, but for some reason she wasn't going to give me the position. And like, I mean, that's okay. I just see it as if a door doesn't open for you, then maybe that door is not meant for you and you're meant for a bigger door, or you're meant for a door that's more compatible for you. Because again, I wouldn't want to work with someone that looks at me and without even knowing anything about me automatically assumes that I can't do something. That's all I have to say for today. I may make a video talking more about what working in a clinic is like, and maybe being a float pool nurse. But yeah, for now, just a recap. You know, I did clinic nursing, I did float pool, and now I'm gonna be doing the ICU. So catch me next time.